Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, depending on where you have logged in from. Thank you for joining us for day 4 of Vinculum's Virtual Cross-Border Summit 2020. I'm Abhishek Mitra, your panel moderator for today's session. I lead the cross-border engagement at Vinculum globally and have been associated with the retail and e-commerce industry for more than a decade. We've had some fantastic audience on all the days so far, and a panel of esteemed speakers who have been gracious enough to take out time from their busy schedules and cover topics included in the summit. I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, today will be no different. For those of you who are logging in for the first time, Vinculum, through its product solution, subject matter experts, and a network of partners, has made it very easy for sellers to list and retail their products internationally and sell anywhere faster. Over the last 2 days, we spoke in detail about various business models and the role played by third-party logistics for going cross-border. Sharing a few insights that I could take note of, and let me tell you, they are very exciting. New categories leading the global push for e-commerce. These notably include essentials, personal care, health supplements, office equipment. Brands delivering direct to customers is actually on the rise, especially more to do with the FMCG segment. A new age buyers has actually evolved in these times, the senior citizens. And consumer marketing companies are actually developing products on the go or catering to this segment. Southeast Asia, Middle East, and countries in the SAARC region are showing the fastest growth for e-commerce, followed by Latin America and Africa. Brand distributors have been moving from a traditional model of storage and fulfillment to being digital. First, providing localized services and helping sellers to build visibility and traction for their products. From a 3PL perspective, sellers have been advised to ascertain 4 C's in their roadmap for international expansion. I can recollect cost, coverage, customs, and COD, which in common parlance is known as cash on delivery. In case you have missed any of the previous sessions, ladies and gentlemen, we would request you to go to your respective logins and hear the recording uploaded. We've also captured the recordings on our YouTube channel. Moving on to today's leg of the Virtual Cross-Border Summit, we're going to address some very important considerations. Impact of taxes and duties for international shipments, brand registration in international markets, flow of payments against sales from country of retail to country of origin to country of retail, and most importantly, the role played by an importer on record, or IOR as we know them very, very commonly. On a lighter note, corporate taxation has been one of the toughest subjects for me to manage during my MBA days, and I've actually had trouble memorizing the laws, rules, and regulations. In the cross-border parlance today, domestic regulations, taxation, duties applicable in international markets still remain a subject of anxiety for most first-time sellers. Moving on to an IOR and an SOR. An IOR and an SOR typically play a very important role in today's evolving cross-border transactions by being the local entity for the seller. They facilitate customs clearance and take care of local duties in the country of retail. They also facilitate legal compliances and product registrations. Our third subject for today is equally interesting, if not the most interesting: cross-border payments. Cross-border payments today is a US 28 trillion market. The size of this market continues to grow, fueled by an increase in the number of e-commerce transactions, the migration, and economic trends. I was reading a report today in ET Times And India is currently seeing about 100 million digital transactions daily, worth about 5 lakh crores. This as per the RBI chief, Mr. Vasudevan. That's a very healthy CAGR of about 58% in volume and 15% in value terms. Very significant numbers. Today's cross-border payment customer, be that a customer or a business, expects payments which are frictionless, secure, transparent, cost-effective, and very fast. On our panel, ladies and gentlemen, for today, we first have Stelcore, an organization providing IOR and SOR services, besides a seamless solution for a wide range of cross-border legal and compliances. Its services are spread across more than 20 countries in multiple categories. I have with me today Bharat Mandot, co-founder and managing director at Stelcore Management Services. A chartered accountant by profession, Bharat has designed sustainable business models for common problem areas in a way which can complement business, legal, technology, and industry. We also have on the panel global tax consulting firm Avalara. Avalara helps business of all sizes achieve compliance with transactional taxes, including VAT, sales and use, excise, communications, and other tax types. With me on the panel today, representing Avalara, we have Mr. Patrick Frith, Business Development Director, a supply chain expert with over 20 years in managing global trade and customs clearance. Patrick is responsible for cross-border development at Avalara. And finally, our third panelist for today from Payoneer. Payoneer is a financial services company that provides online money transfer, digital payment services, and provides customers with working capital. In today's digital world, Payoneer's platform streamlines global commerce for millions of small businesses, marketplaces, and enterprises from across 200 countries. Representing Payoneer today is Kavish Ahuja, Senior Business Development Manager. Kavish has experience in overseeing sales initiatives, key account management, enterprise planning, and market analysis. Thank you, panelists, for joining us, and we welcome you to the Vinculum's Cross-Border Summit for 2020. As we have different panelists, I will go sequentially. My first two questions will be to Bharat Mandot from Stelcore. Bharat, how are you doing today?
Yeah, fine. I'm good. Yes.
Okay. The first question, Bharat, does my brand need to be registered in every international location? And the second part of the question, will the IOR partner provide me any kind of assistance to register my brand? Over to you, Bharat.
Okay. So first of all, when you are just starting for global marketplaces, or you can say other countries, so in terms of compliance side, brand registration is totally depend on your choice. So what I recommend generally in this case, first you should see the seasoning in that particular country. It is like your product is doing right or not. And after that, because the moment you see the seasoning, then you have to protect your brand. Okay, if you will do the brand registration, since it is an optional kind of part, and no country asks as a pre-requirement to register your brand and then start business. This is not the case. Okay, it is safer side if you register the brand and then do it. It is much better. But again, it is totally depend on the which stage you are into. If you are a well-known brand, then definitely you should choose first do the brand registration, then start operation. If you are like a small time of seller, then better first see the seasoning, because you have limited resources where to spend. That is wisely you have to spend it. Okay. So as a one-liner saying answer is that in terms of brand registration is not a compulsory, but in long run definitely you should protect that and you have to plan it accordingly. Now come to the second point, like as a IOR partner. So first of all, I would like to explain that what does it mean IOR or importer and why it is necessary. And then after that, I'll come on the portion like how it will help you in terms of like protecting your brand or in terms of business feasibility side and all. So being in like every country need the local representation when you are just importing the goods. So there should be some consigning or some legal representative, or we can say importer in that country. Okay. When you do the e-commerce, your end customer is going to buy the goods, but when custom asks the documentation, that time they are not willing to provide the KYC and all these things to the end customer. So generally, e-commerce operate into two different model. One is forward deployment, which with Amazon all the people are doing, majority of them, FBA, and second is the dropship model, as and when order comes up and you are just sending the shipment. So in first case where you are doing the FBA, then definitely you can say marketplace is not importing the product and you are storing the goods in that country for commercial purpose. So practically there should be some importer or legal representative for that particular goods which you are storing, or you can say for custom clearance point of view in terms of product responsibility or any other kind of responsibility which arises till the time like it is not getting sold. Okay, so importer part is required. Then second point comes up, like when you are doing dropship cases also, like either you send the goods and your end customer want like is able to submit the KYC, it is fine. But if suppose they are not able to submit the KYC, or you if you are using the bulk break kind of shipment, then you can say you need again importer so that your logistics partner can do the bulk break and shipment can connect it to end customers. Okay, this is the, that's why IOR is required more in terms of legal representation in that country. Okay, now come to the brand promotion, or you can say promotion of your product and brand in the IOR side. So in terms of brand part, that always can be taken, or trademark can be taken into your company name only, which is into your origin market, rather than just you take the trademark in the name of importer or IOR. So IOR only just can be facilitator as a consultant, nothing more than that. So we prefer that you should take trademark into your own name wherever you are based out as a origin market, and in destination market you should take it, but it is totally your choice. Again, IOR is not playing any role in terms of taking the trademarks or brand registration into that particular country. That's it.
Very, very insightful, Bharat. And I think it addresses one of the fundamental questions for a lot of first-time sellers. And I think during the course of today's discussion, we anticipate a lot of sellers are actually going to ask the value adds provided by IOR. I'll come back to you, Bharat. But on the second question, as on today, according to you, which are the most attractive markets in terms of duties and taxes and ease of doing cross-border e-commerce? And the second part of the question, how can sellers benefit by having a local entity in international markets for the channel expansion? If you have any slide to present, Bharat, that will be great for the audience.
Okay, so I'll be just sharing.
I think while you present the slide, you can talk about the first part in terms of market attractiveness and categories which are very, very exciting in the cross-border space.
Okay, yeah, so like I'll be just picking out. Can you see the screen now?
If you can go on the slide share. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So in terms of like you can see in terms of compliance requirement side, we divide. I'm starting again from the compliances and then setting up the entity and other parts. I'll be coming on that. So in terms of compliance at any destination market, it is divided into two aspects. One is the business compliances. Second is the product compliances. So when it comes to business compliances, it is more or less kind of tax registration, or you can say you need legal representation in that country. So which is as an entity tax registration or as a IOR and other compliances. Okay, that is one part. Now second part is the product compliances, under which generally product registration, how your product should be like packed or labeled, or what disclosures you have to make that, and import compliances, which is custom procedure. So in nutshell, product compliance is the most critical part which every seller has to follow. That cannot be compromised, because first, if you will compromise on the product compliances, then your product will not get clear through the custom. That is one roadblock. And second thing, even if it is getting cleared from the custom, and if the end customer is buying it, and tomorrow anything goes wrong because it is not in compliance with the local of that country, then it will either marketplace will penalize you, or maybe you can say local body will penalize you. But that will be the most critical event where it will come on your business itself. Okay. Now come to the second point, which is business compliances, which is about the tax registration or legal representation. So many of the countries, like example, provide the threshold, or you can say give you some kind of you can say limit. The moment you will cross that limit, then only tax registration is required. Or sometimes, just like example UK, without being in resident IOR, you can just clear the shipment based on your own EORI number. So IOR is also not required, but product compliances cannot be compromised. That's one part. So this is overall compliance structure which you need to follow when you do any cross-border business. Now come to the second point, which is this is a model which runs more on the compliance side. Like when you are starting business to any of the cross-border country. So first, in terms of licensing side, regulatory authority want a local legal representative so that they can held for non-compliance, they can held responsible to the local legal representative for non-compliance of the products or any other things. So what generally we do as a Stelco, we provide support to the seller in that country to take the product license and act as an importer also, or do whatever like you can say legal infrastructure support related things they want. So merchant will sign up agreement with us. We provide them entire legal infra related services, which includes entire gamut, which I mentioned to you. The moment merchant send the product, it comes to the, you can say for custom clearance, paper is submitted by us related to only legal entity, which is our responsibility. Product related, all the clarification is provided by merchant. Shipment will get clear. Either it can reach to our end customer or wherever warehousing you want to do it. And then marketplace, you can sell it, or even you can manage the offline orders also via this particular mechanism. So ultimately, as a IOR, support is more or less compliance repository for you in that country, so that you can plug and play in whatever countries, wherever we are operating, so that you can just, suppose tomorrow if your business is not doing fine, if you set up the entity and you want to call it back, it will be a typical task. But in this case, what will happen? So you take the Stelco as IOR. Now, after that, you are enabled online and offline in that particular country. Now you do the online transaction, offline transaction, whatever is required, fine. And if suppose your business sometime, if not working fine, you want to call it back, just you can say agreement will get cancelled, and then you are on your own. So there is no liability left out in that particular country wherever it's offered. So ultimate saying is that no need to form a company in each of the country wherever you are doing the business. So it can be managed like by us also. And if your business is really sizable, then definitely I'll recommend you should go, but that is totally a business call which you would like to make. Apart from this, necessity wise, model is such, just plug and play, because tomorrow you are operating more than 15-20 countries. Every country you cannot open the company and you cannot manage it, because seasoning in every country will not remain same. So that's why this recommendation is that first see the seasoning, then put up your own company and start expanding. Over to you, Abhishek.
Bharat, just one more question in terms of taking care of VAT and local taxes in countries. Which are the markets that you have actually been seeing the most transactions pre-COVID and post-COVID as on today?
So in terms of, you can say like transaction side, USA, because they never imposed the lockdown at all, which was quite good one. And Europe is now also picking up well, and Southeast Asia is also doing, this Middle East, which is UAE and all, this is doing perfectly fine at this point of time.
Okay, perfect. And any categories which you see the usual suspects being electronics, of course, and FMCG, but any categories that you have seen have particular come up in the last couple of months as very high traction categories?
Yeah, so it is more or less, you can say, food and dietary supplement category, because everybody was working on the immunity side.
Yeah.
So herbs, food and dietary supplement is the which is picking up very, very fast. And second thing, it is also coming under the essential. So like all people realize that the immunity side, what they have to do it. And majority of means practically, when I can say in last 2 months, we got daily basis 3 to 4 inquiries of this kind of sellers. They want to sell in the USA and UK, and just you can say sending the shipments.
Okay. Perfect.
I'm talking about the new edition. Whatever is existing one is doing, that is fine. But new one, because like immunity side, everybody is worried about it. And herbs, earlier people were taking little bit lightly, but now everybody just realizes without that nothing will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your insights, Bharat. I will come back to you. I move on to our next speaker. Very, very early morning for him. Hi, Patrick.
Hello, good evening.
Good morning to you. Okay, Patrick, again, because of the number of questions that keep coming in, I have combined two questions in one part, and I will do this very slowly. What role does local tax laws, customs, and duty play in cross-border e-commerce strategies? And the second part of the question, how can retailers solve it with technology and automation?
Sure. So your first part of the question, local laws with respect to duties and taxes and considerations which need to be made. Whenever shipping cross-border, sellers have to be respectful of the destination country's regulations in regards to customs duties, local taxes, and restrictions of products. So what might be suitable for your local domestic market may not be suitable for your destination market. There are restrictions around the world. We'll talk about restrictions first. So, countries have restrictions. We need to be respectful of them. We need to be aware of them before we open our products to the world online for people to buy. So, for example, camouflage clothing into Saudi Arabia is prohibited. Curved blades into the UK over 18 inches are prohibited. Things which may not be prohibited in a local market, but are in destination. So that's the first step. We need to be very aware of that. And then the second point you made there about duties and taxes, we have to acknowledge that countries around the world impose different duties and taxes on different products. And they have a variety of reasons to do this, mostly to protect their national industries. So whenever selling abroad, cross-border, there will always be a duty and tax component in that destination country. And we believe at Avalara that it is a better customer experience if your buyer has visibility to those duties and those tax costs before the product arrives into that destination country. There is nothing worse, and I've experienced it myself. There is nothing worse than, as a buyer, you shop and you purchase from overseas, it arrives into your country, your home country, and you are surprised. You're surprised with additional fees, which are duties and taxes in the destination country, which you then have to pay. You have to find a way of paying it. It's an inconvenience. It's an extra step. There's a delay. All these things. So we at Avalara believe that can be eliminated. It can be eliminated at the point of sale by presenting at the checkout page not only the cost of the goods and shipping and handling and what are the costs, but also the duties and the taxes in that destination country. And we have the ability through technology to project those costs so that the buyer is fully informed at the point of sale, is fully informed of what those costs are going to be, and can make an informed decision. So I hope that answers the first part of your question, which is why we must be mindful of destinations, countries, local laws and regulations. And then we recently did, we commissioned with NAPCO Research, we commissioned some research around what is the biggest pitfalls associated with sellers who are selling cross-border. And top of the list, over 50% of respondents, and it was a wide pool, top of the list was delays in customs. Delays in customs. And it's something we've all felt as shippers overseas. We've all felt delays in customs. Seldom is it the carrier's fault. Okay, we often, you know, that's the go-to. We'll blame the carrier. I handed my shipment over. They were supposed to, but it stopped in customs for a very good reason, and that's because customs at the destination country have an absolute right to know what is this product that's arriving into this country. Okay, we need to know what it is. We need to know its value. We need to know that it's classified and described appropriately before we let it into our country. They have an obligation to their nation to do that. That's their role. So that's the number one pitfall, and it can be solved through technology, through HS classification, harmonized system classification, which of course is the codes, which is the universal language around the world to describe what products are. Once customs know what the product is, they can levy a tax appropriately and then allow that shipment to move into its country. So the second part of your question, which I think I can roll into now, is how can technology help solve these problems? So if I may, I'm going to share a slide.
Sure. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, you should see a screen, a slide screen. So here at Avalara, here's how we can help sellers to ship overseas and solve this problem. So starting on the top left-hand side here, you know, this represents the online store. It's an exciting store. It sells cotton t-shirts, as you can see, and we can consume this information at Avalara. We can consume the information of this product. And as you can see, it's a cotton t-shirt. We move that through our classification engine. We connect through either API or FTP with our customers' product catalogs. And our engine, using artificial intelligence and machine learning, examines that particular product based on certain characteristics: the material composition, a product description, its use, and of course the destination country. And our engine can then, in the blink of an eye, it can then classify that product and provide the HS code, which is the key. Remember, that HS code is the key. It's your passport into the destination country. It can classify it appropriately, underpinned by our team of classifiers, our experts as a service, who research and provide the accuracy of the engine. They oversee the engine's accuracy. They're a centralized team based in Noida, India, who do all that classification work. And then we can return back to our customers with confidence the HS classification code of their product, in this case a t-shirt, to any country in the world that they're selling to, whether it's the GCC, whether it's Southeast Asia, whether it's Europe, whether it's the Americas. We can classify for all those different destination countries, because codes are different per country. And then once you've got that product classified with confidence, your shopping cart, which has been assembled by your customer who is buying your t-shirts, buying your products, that can be sent through to our tax engine, Avatax, which has a cross-border module. And that in real time calculates the duties and taxes of your customer's shopping cart that they have assembled on your website. And we can return back to you that destination duty and the import taxes and the sales taxes within that destination country in real time. So you can present, and it's a little small here, but you can present in the checkout page, you can present the duties and the taxes which are to be anticipated in that destination country. What does that mean for a shipper? Well, it means that you can hand that shipment over to your carrier. You can hand it over as DDP, which is delivery duties paid, and the shipment will sail through customs. The HS code will be attached to it. Customs will clear it. Duty will be paid by your carrier, and you'll be presented with a duty and tax invoice sometime later for you to settle up. You're confident because it has all been calculated at the point of sale. You've collected it, no surprises from your buyer. And the buyer, of course, is very pleased because the whole experience was hassle-free. There was no interruption with a call from the carrier asking for extra payments for duties and taxes, because that's all been taken care of at the point of sale. That's the experience which we find that our customers do prefer. It's that whole transparency, and of course, the buyer walks away from the experience very positively. I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely, absolutely, very, very insightful and very detailed. And I think on the same note, I'll continue with the second question. So according to you, Patrick, any technological innovations that will have the largest impact on e-commerce going forward?
Yeah, so I think a couple of areas here. I think, yeah, I was just about to stop sharing my screen. Thank you for doing that. I think a couple of areas here. It's the ability to, in terms of cross-border and making sure we're respectful of those local regulations and laws, which you mentioned earlier on. It is having the content available in an automated fashion to sellers. So that content comes in a couple of streams. The first stream, of course, is HS classification, and being aware of how countries classify products, how they define the classification of a product, because every country is different. The EU is an exception. It acts as a block. So all those member states in the EU have the same classification, but other than the EU, every country is different. So it's having that content available so your products can be classified accurately to whichever of the 223 countries around the world that you ship to. Having that content. The second stream of content, of course, is duty and tax tariffs. Duties and taxes change all the time. Free trade agreements get negotiated between countries all the time around the world. Free trade agreements get collapse. They expire all the time around the world. Having that content and knowing the duties and tariffs that are in place around the world is key, and being able in real time to pass that to customers so they can present it as part of their checkout through an API, I think is essential. It allows for seamless transactions, which we described earlier on, and that whole process and the use of technology in that process is the direction that in my opinion, that e-commerce will go. So I think in summary, it's having that content, and remember, government sanctioned content, that's all we use at Avalara. We have a team of 350 content engineers who scour the planet for daily changes in content, having it available, having it accurate. So when you sell overseas, you're selling with confidence, and you're preempting the duties and taxes and the classification problems which may exist today.
So much, Patrick, and very, very detailed, like I said earlier, and I'm sure that the audience will have a lot of questions coming in your way once the session gets over. We'll hold on to you for a minute, and I can see Kavish getting a bit nervy, so we'll move on to Kavish. Okay, Kavish, very good evening to you. And I think, like I mentioned, global payments and cross-border transactions have been a very, very interesting subject. My first question will be, how is Payoneer solving some of the specific pain points for maybe cross-border sellers? Sure. And if you can also talk about how are the medium and small enterprises paying their suppliers, maybe contractors or business partners with Payoneer? Over to you, Kavish.
Yeah. So trying to understand what are the pain points for MSMEs across the globe. What Payoneer does globally is one of the key challenges that we face today is the lack of awareness of democratization of the payments. And that is something that we offer to millions of small businesses across the globe. So the primary root cause, the critical area here is that businesses mainly SMEs are not trying to avail the full breadth of digitization. There are a lot of solutions, for example, which are available only to enterprises and not to the SMEs across the globe. So what Payoneer does as a platform, as a fintech solution, is that we work with both marketplaces. We work with 2,000 plus marketplaces on one end of the spectrum or one end of the supply. On the other end of the supply, we work with MSMEs across the globe which sell on these marketplaces and get paid by these marketplaces. So let's take an example of how we solve specific pain points. The most critical pain point of what we have seen is access to capital for MSMEs across the globe. So we basically developed a product. We understood that from the other end of the spectrum, we understood that e-commerce sellers sometimes face hiccups in their cash flow, even if it is generally positive. So somebody right now doing X $1,000 wanting to do a 1.2x will go through a lot of hardships if they have to scale from X to 1.2x. So we understand all these problems. So with Payoneer, they can get access to working capital. It gives them the extra boost which is required for them to expand their business. They can pay their working capital offer back once they get their payment from the marketplace. With the Payoneer working capital, the capital advance, they will always have the working capital that they need to seize the opportunity that comes their way. So this is one case of how we actually solve real world problems for MSMEs across the globe. Second, we have also gone beyond payments in most of the geographies that we work in. We have localized offerings for every geography. So for every geo, we have you have an MSME. There are different local compliance requirements. So the compliance requirements in the US might not be the same as in India. Compliance may not be the same as in UK or anywhere in Southeast Asia. So we solve localize with the localized offerings for every geo. We have built relationship with their clients and help them solve these problems at root cause. So let's take an example there. For India, sellers wanted to get funds in their dollar account. They did not want to get, they did not want Payoneer to convert the funds into INR and transfer it to their Indian bank account. So with Payoneer, they can accept funds in their local EFC or dollar bank account in India. It's a custom solution that we have built for MSMEs based out of India. That is one. For India again, and for countries even like Bangladesh, we have a local FIRC solution. So the entire process to get the foreign inward remittance certificate has been automated by Payoneer to allow the MSMEs to be able to close their export bills easily with the Indian government. That is one. Third thing, there is also sellers have complained that they have a requirement that they want to get a single view of payments from all the marketplaces on the single dashboard. You may be selling on Amazon UK, Amazon Europe, and at the end of the month, they are confused of how much payment has come in from all the marketplaces in the source currency. So with Payoneer, we have something called as Store Manager, very focused towards solving this problem where the sellers can connect all their marketplace accounts, be it on Wish, etc., and get a single holistic view of payments of all these marketplaces on the same dashboard on Payoneer. So that's something that makes their life easy. So overall, the idea is to allow MSMEs to leverage the power of digitization like any large enterprise. So our role is to reduce the gap between enterprises and MSMEs and give access to the same kind of solutions, same kind of products to MSMEs across the globe so that they can grow without any barriers or without any limitations on any marketplace. The MSME could be based out of US selling into India, or the MSME could be based out of India, UK selling into Australia. So everything is possible with Payoneer directly.
Sure. Kavish, on the same note, in times like today, how are you, or rather Payoneer as an organization, helping sellers to understand which are the right markets for them? And in times like these, where sellers are predominantly requiring any kind of capital investment, is there a push or is there a special incentive that you're offering to any of the MSMEs?
Sure. So while the time right now is unprecedented for everybody, we had never imagined in our entire life that 5 people working from different places across the globe, and we will we wouldn't be able to do a real-time event somewhere where people could see us. So I think this is the entire new normal that we need to acknowledge right now and accustomed to it. And while the impact on the MSMEs has been unprecedented again, we as an organization and Pioneer as a solution, we are doing whatever we can to support the businesses even in these times. So with the solutions like Capital Advance, we are giving them access to capital through Pioneer so that they can continue expanding onto different marketplaces. Through programs like Green Channel, we are helping sellers find out marketplace for them. So if somebody is successful on Amazon right now, or if somebody is successful on marketplace A, we can help them get launched on different marketplaces as per their category or as per what works for them. So our entire objective right now, stronger than ever before, is to set the MSME for success with everything we can. For example, if somebody wants to accept direct payments from customer based across the globe and not in their home geography, so they could use the Pioneer billing service to accept payments from customers directly. And Pioneer overall, with its highly cost-effective currency conversion rates, also helps them save a lot of money on currency conversion in tough times right now.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That was very, very insightful again. I have a common question, gentlemen, for all of you. And this is actually to do with times of today. So how will the cross-border e-commerce strategy differ from the ones we were following before COVID? And what has really changed? And are we kind of preparing for a new normal? I can have Patrick answering this first, and Bharat and Kavish can join in.
Sure.
Patrick.
Yeah, no problems. Well, I think we can see that the growth in e-commerce over the past few months has been explosive, particularly in certain segments, which was mentioned earlier on in the discussion. So that I expect to continue. I think small differences as well are going to be relevant, such as contact-free deliveries, deliveries without signature. These things which are becoming quite commonplace now, less and less human interaction. So with that goes, the whole duty and payment, settlement of duties and payments. So no longer will shippers and buyers, for that matter, want that interaction where duties are being settled. Payments, partial payments which weren't collected up front are having to be settled. People having to go into offices to make those final payments which weren't made earlier on in the supply chain. So I think the amount of friction and the amount of contact between people is very important now in supply chains, which means we have to use technology in order to collect everything that's owed up front, so that the transport companies can do their job with the minimum amount of contact between individuals.
Perfect. Your thoughts? You're on mute, Bharat. You're on mute. Thanks.
Okay, so in terms of, we can say, when you are starting post-COVID, so first of all, in terms of maintaining the better part, and second thing, category-specific focus should be more, because practically, when people are buying the casual need product, which will be a little bit slow down, because anyways income level is a little bit down, and everybody is struggling for even sustainability. So essential categories will be more focused ones. So seller from essential categories can focus more on the quality, and even on the cross-border side, demand will be much higher as compared to like casual needs. Okay, that can be deferred by customer, but this is not.
Your thoughts on the subject? Kavish?
So I echo what Bharat and Patrick just mentioned right now, and additionally saying now of what we understand, I mean, our team and me and my team interacts with e-commerce sellers on an everyday basis, and we speak with a lot of MSMEs as a part of our job. So what we have realized is now could be a good time for anybody to diversify from one geography to other geographies. So while geos like US, UK, etc. are highly impacted by the COVID thing right now, and like Bharat rightly mentioned that the spending power, etc. might be reduced for some time. So it could be a great time to look at newer geographies like Australia, UAE, Singapore, where there are enough customers, and these geographies also have a high amount of a high number of Indian diaspora as well. That could be one. Second thing of what I could think of is when now it could also be a good time for MSMEs to spend a lot in marketing and branding and trying to build a brand which they have not been able to do for quite some time. They have been focused on doing what they have been doing on an everyday basis, since there would be swings in the kind of volumes that and the kind of revenues that people might be seeing. Some categories are not doing well. Some categories like Bharat mentioned, essential, etc., are doing really well. So for the ones who are not selling in these categories, they could also look at diversifying into other categories or building their own brand, which comes more stronger when all of this gets over. So I think these are the two overarching things that they could take care of right now to be able to come back from this much stronger than ever.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very, very pertinent answers, and very pertinent in the times of today. Unfortunately, my host Sakshi tells me that we are nearing the end of a session where we need to invite audience questions. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I leave the forum open for question and answers. In case you have any queries, please put them under the Q&A section of your login screen. While putting forth your question, please identify yourself with your name, geography, and nature of business. And with this, I will invite my colleague Sakshi to take over the question and answer sessions. Sakshi?
Thank you, Abhishek. Hello, everyone. I'm Sakshi from Vinculum, and I'll be handling the Q&A. So the first question we have is for Kavish. It's from Shreya, and she's asking, sellers selling in the UK need to pay VAT. Can you elaborate on how Payoneer helps sellers pay VAT in the UK and Europe?
Sure. So VAT is a big, just to set context for everybody on the panel today, VAT is a big concern for foreign sellers who sell in the UK and in the EU market. It's an important part. It's the prerequisite for anybody getting started to sell in these local geographies, be it on Amazon or a marketplace, or even through their direct website, which is catering to the local geography. So VAT is paid to the local relevant European governments in their local currency, and the UK government demands that the VAT payment should be made in the GBP, and also and the same applies also for the European nations as well. So with Payoneer, what we help is with, if you already have a VAT number, that's great. If you don't have a VAT number, we can help you connect with the right partners who can help you get the VAT number approved and activated, and you could pay your VAT directly from your Payoneer account, from the Payoneer balance directly. So you could, if say for example you are right now selling on Amazon UK, and you need to pay a VAT of £2,000. So if you already have balance in your Payoneer account and you have already received funds in your Payoneer account, you could take payment to HMRC in the UK against your VAT number, and the VAT payment would be made directly. You automatically get the VAT confirmation receipt in a few days after the VAT payment is made. So this solution is very focused and very targeted around making VAT payments in the EU and in the UK.
Thank you so much, Kavish. The next question we have is for Bharat, and it's from Mr. Jitesh Shetty. He's asking, for USA, does a brand need to register sales tax in all the states? What responsibilities does an IOR undertake?
Okay. So like whosoever seller on the USA platform, practically they should register for the sales tax wherever their goods are getting stored in. So nexus definition they should get from the marketplace, from which warehouse they are fulfilling it. And according to that, because presently what will happen, every marketplace, or I can say majority of the marketplace in USA, they collect the taxes and pay it to the respective government, state government. Okay, so seller independently is not responsible for the payment of tax to the respective, like you can say, state government. But what is generally they have to do it, they have to take the sales tax number and just file the return under B2B exempted category. Then only you can say it will be in compliance part, because Amazon or maybe any other marketplace, they are taking collecting and paying it. So their cash flow side, they are completing the responsibility towards the state. But practically seller front, they have to take the EIN tax, the tax number, and complete the return filing under B2B part. And IOR practically is responsible for the payment of tax, but payment of tax is already done.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bharat. So the next question is for Mr. Patrick, and it's from Nikunj. He's asking, how is the sales tax managed when we see these products on international marketplaces like Amazon USA? How is that managed?
So the sales tax, could you just repeat that? How is the sales tax managed
Yes.
when we see?
How is the sales tax managed when we see these products on international marketplaces like Amazon USA?
Right. So sales tax is calculated based on the value of the product and obviously the nature of the product, the classification of the product, and the ship to destination. So it's a function of those inputs, which then allows engines such as Avalara's to calculate in real time the actual sales tax, which is going to be anticipated for that particular product to move from point A to its destination. So it's anticipated. It uses the product, the classification of the product, the value of the product, and the ship to destination.
Okay, thank you so much, Patrick. The next question is for Kavish, and it's from Nikunj again. So he's asking, if I'm selling in marketplaces in the UK, I have a local VAT and collect money in the Pioneer account instead of my UK bank account on marketplaces. Kavish, can you answer that?
Yeah, so you can collect the funds, of course. So, answering to Nikunj, so yes, he can collect the funds in his Pioneer account instead of his local UK bank account, and he can either make the VAT payments from the Pioneer account. He could supplier payments directly to anywhere across the globe using the same Pioneer balance, or he could withdraw the funds from the Pioneer account to his local UK bank account. Yes, all the three things are possible.
Thank you so much, Kavish. The another question is for Mr. Bharat. The question is it mandatory to have an IOR? Can a brand register a company in that country and avoid an IOR service?
No, so in terms of you're saying, IOR is practically from legal perspective, it is compulsory. So like even you can clear the shipment in non-resident capacity also, but from legal perspective, I feel it is compulsory and it should be there that way. And brand registration and IOR has no linking at all, as I explained earlier also. Like they can do the brand registration or trademark into their own company name also sitting in India. That can be done.
Thank you so much, Bharat. The next question is for Patrick, and it's from Yusin. It is, I'm selling via marketplace. How is the cross-border taxes handled?
So the marketplace, we have many relationships with marketplaces where we provide the marketplace with the functionality to calculate duties and taxes. So as a seller on that marketplace, you may ask them to make use of that functionality. So in your checkout page, you can calculate, and then present the duties and taxes to your buyers. That is something that you can do. You can, at the same time, you can work directly with Avalara to calculate duties and taxes, and then you can provide it to your marketplace to present it in a custom fashion. Present it as part of your checkout page on that marketplace. So there's a number of ways in which technology integrates. So we at Avalara, we're integrated with over 700 partners who then in turn provide our products and services to their clients. So that's often the best place to start. Your marketplace will be able to assist you in getting those integrations in place, and you'll be able to work that out directly with them. Failing that, of course, you can always speak to us directly, and we can help you present that on your checkout pages.
Okay. So Patrick, there is another question for you from Mr. Jitesh. He's asking, is there any tax rebates for sellers?
Tax rebates for sellers, well, it depends on which markets. There often is. These need to be explored. It'll all be to do with the products that you're selling. It'll probably be, the volume, the quota, the volume that you're selling as well. This is something which, you can explore locally in that market. I would recommend. Every market is different. There's some places where there won't be tax rebates, but this would have to be something that you'd have to explore. Generally speaking, taxes are in place for a very good reason, and that is, it's a source of revenue for that destination. But a rebate would have to be under special circumstances, and would have to be explored locally to see if your product qualifies in that particular destination.
Thank you so much, Patrick. And Abhishek, considering the paucity of time, I'll be showing the last two questions of the session today, and we'll be answering the rest of the question personally because we are passing the time limit now. So
Sure,
the next question is for Mr. Kavesh. It's from Tanya. It's, does Pioneer operate in UAE? If yes, do we still need a bank account, for example, on Noon, or can we submit Pioneer account to open a seller account?
Sure. So I'll just do the first part. So yes, you can open a Pioneer account from UAE. If you have a company in UAE, you can create a Pioneer account, and you would need a local bank account to connect it with the Pioneer account to be able to create an account successfully. That's the first part. When you sign up with Pioneer, you get a virtual local account in the US, UK, Europe, UAE, etc. You could use this account, and you could use the same Pioneer account number on Noon or on Amazon UAE or any other marketplace that you sell in. Once you start getting funds, the funds get collected in your Pioneer account, and you can withdraw it to their local UAE bank account as and when needed.
Okay. Thank you, Kavish. So the last question for the day is for Mr. Bharat. It's from Shanmugam, and the question is there a terminology like IOR in customs regulations? How can a IOR claim responsibility to the goods not belonging to them?
So last one, what you mentioned, goods not belonging to them.
Belonging to them, yes.
Achha, not belonging to them. Okay. So what happened, like as a process? First of all, IOR terminology is already in custom, which is called importer on record. Okay, this is already in place. Then second thing, like when you are sending any consignment from, you can say, origin country to destination, so importer is required at destination, and custom need power of attorney from the importer, then only they will clear the goods. Okay. So in terms of, you can say, without intimation of IOR, suppose I gave my detail to you, and you are just putting in the invoice, Stelcor is my IOR, and just sending the shipment. When it reaches to destination market, now logistics partner or CHA asks for the authorization to clear the goods from the custom. That time, if shipment comes without intimation to us and you just mention the name because you have the detail, then it will be a fraud kind of scene which you are doing it practically. So that could not be there. That's why we are like giving every consignment wise or every shipment wise power of attorney. So that seller means sometimes seller can do knowingly also and not knowingly also. So it's a like you can say it's a routine one based on trending and all that we analyze and complete it. But when you can say if you are using any detail of any of the IOR, then better you should intimate them and then only use it. Otherwise your shipment will get abandoned and you can say it will be unnecessary charges for you.
Thank you, Bharat.
Perfect. Thank you, panelists, for your insights and detailed deep dive on the topics covered today. And thank you, audience, for listening in and sharing your queries with the panel. We look forward to meeting you tomorrow in the last of our sessions addressing the role of value-added partners in the cross-border ecosystem. To our audience logging in from North and South America, have a great day. To the audience from Middle East and India, have a nice evening. And finally, to our friends from Southeast Asia and Australia, good night. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.